All right. Hey, guys. Hey. I can tell you right now, this topic is perfect for exactly what I'm going through. So, we're the Doors. We're the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success, guys. I'm Nicholas Sternloff.
I'm Zachary Otts.
And welcome to the Struggle Bus. So, exactly what we're talking about today. Have you ever just been in a place where you're struggling? You don't know how to get out of the situation you're in. You really don't understand what path to take. You don't know where to go. What are you riding? Zach, what are they riding?
And what people forget about in your struggles, that struggles are actually required in life to survive. When we were the hunters and gatherers back in the days, and we were running from saber-toothed tigers and killing woolly mammoths and all that crap, there was a little bit of struggling in there. There was a lot of bit of struggling in there. So in order for us to grow, in order for us to actually be able to step out or transcend ourselves, if you will, we've got to have a little bit of struggle, man. And
that's a really great point you just made.
And it's the most important point, because people think that when you're on this path, or you're trying to complete this journey, or you're going through a trial or an obstacle, that literally there's not going to be a struggle, that it should just be a walk in the park. You know, you're just skipping through, picking flowers, all this stuff. But when you get really down into the nitty gritty of life, there's always going to be struggles.
Hands down.
And what people don't realize is that your inner strength, this thing that everyone's chasing after, it doesn't come from winning. It comes from developing those strengths through struggle. Sitting there, pounded it in.
Getting your face beat into the dirt.
And all that stuff, man.
And getting back up again. Damn right. That's such an interesting point. I mean, I'll go into it later, but Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about something exactly along the lines of this too, about just human makeup and struggle and the way that we used to be as actual human animals growing through society. It's a very interesting point that I'll come to later. But again, exactly what he's talking about is, I think I talked about it in a previous podcast as well. The Canadian astronaut talked about you never accomplish anything great sitting down. You gotta get your face beat in, boy. Gotta get back up off your ass.
When you decide, man, because a lot of people, they like to just push it away. You know, their hardships, they'll go to drugs or alcohol, or they just try to numb their mind, you know, or eat or whatever it is. You have this vice, this thing that you use in order to get rid of this emotion. Now, if you actually decide to go through that hardship and just surrender to it and let it go, that, my friend, is strength.
And that's
how much weight you can lift. That, my friend, is strength.
That's a really, really great point. I mean, we've talked about it in previous podcasts. We've struggled before. Like I'm one of those people that didn't understand how to deal with his emotions. And luckily I do now without the help of anything, just through myself. Of course, I have people around me that support system that's great. But growing up as a young adult, I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I don't think a lot of people do. We look to our parental figures, the people that we think we should look up to, and sometimes they don't know how to deal with the things that they need to deal with either. So trying to relate in a way and understand what you need to go through with people that are also struggling is a very hard thing to do. And I've done it. I had to do it. I went through a great place. Luckily, I was very safe, and I am who I am now. But I did a lot of drugs, and that's how I dealt with my emotions. I think we both went through some real struggles in the sense of having to deal with life situations through other means and actually dealing with them up front.
And what's so powerful, I think, going along with what you said, Nicholas, it honestly molds you into the individual that you are today. Like, you know, and I'm not trying to brag on you or anything, but I've seen you come from, you know, very close-minded to someone who's been open, someone who's actually conquered his emotions, and that is getting on that path of being able to change them. You know,
Yeah.
and what's amazing about it, and there's a quote by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. She says, "The most beautiful people we have known are those who have known defeat, known suffering, known struggle, known loss, and have found their way out of the depths."
Damn
And
right.
I think it's so powerful for that. And going along with this quote, you know, Nicholas and I sat down and we actually came up with 5 ways to get your ass up off that struggle bus. It's like, you
Get
know,
your
that
ass off the struggle bus. Get your ass off the struggle bus. You gotta get the fuck off the struggle bus.
um so the very first one to get your ass off that struggle bus, bro, is going to be take responsibility. Take responsibility for what you can control, but also realize that there are things that are you are not in control of. So
So
Nick, I
important.
got a question for you,
So
bro.
important.
Do you feel like we focus so much on things that are just out of our control that we let go of the things that we do have control over?
I think that we live in a society that hasn't taught us how to do that. And again, like I talked about just a little bit earlier, is that we look up to these people that have so much. As an adult, going from a child to an adult, we have so much. There's such a big change of stuff you have to deal with on your plate, and like the things that you have in front of you have to deal with. And when you can't control a situation, when you're a dreamer like me or Zach, when you can't control a situation, you want it to go a certain way, you build anxiety, you build stress, you build all these things. People like including me, like I look to so many different factors of my own life of things I cannot control, and I let them define how I feel. But at the end of the day, the only thing that I can control, mindset, and the things that I can do, or the things I come out of each situation that I'm in. And that's so important, because once you sit down and really analyze the things that you go through, the things that you can control, it's like taking a blanket off your head. You were driving in the fog, and now here comes the sun. This light shining through this window right now. You can't barely see my hand. Zach, we talk about this all the time, but me and Zachary go over this, and it's when you get in control of your own thoughts and realize the situations that you can handle, that you can differentiate and make moves upon, you take control of your life.
Change your thoughts, you change your life, dude. My one of my greatest mentors, bro, and I never got to meet him because he passed away before I actually did. But when I was at my lowest point and I had really given up all hope, I was like, you know, fuck, like this material world, everything I'm going to, like everyone's let me down, like I've let myself down. Like, what is there? There's got to be something more. There's got to be something greater. And through that continuous struggle, like it's been one of the greatest blessings in my life because it's made me patient. It's made me sensitive. It's made me, I try to develop this thing, and I'm going to go back to my mentor, like I was talking about, Dr. Wayne Dyer. I found all his books when I was at my lowest, man. And he preached on this self-actualization, this godlike consciousness that you got to walk around with it every day. And people, they want to talk about, you know, you praying, that's you talking to God. But the minute that God is talking back to you, you're schizophrenic or something like that, or they want to shove something down your throat. When all actuality, it's you trying to get development over this mind, this attitude that you have to walk around with each and every day. So why not make it a great place to be? Why come from a place of lack? Why come from a place of despair? You know, I think me and Nick talked about in my previous podcast that there's really only 2 emotions: it's love and fear. You know, you're worrying. That's fear of something that's happened in the past. You're anxious. That's fearing of something that's happening in the present or the future. So why not go ahead and turn it to something that's more powerful? What's more powerful than fear? What is it, Nick?
It's
And
love.
struggle will make you see that. Struggle will make you see who is important. Struggle will make you see what is important. And it will also make you figure out why you're doing the things you're doing.
Yeah. That's such a great point. So many great, I could jump into so many different things off of this, but the most important thing is that, again, if you think about these two emotions of living in either love or fear, Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot, is you have to live in the present. Well, if you're fearing something in the past of a emotional something that has happened, if you're fearing a possible future, how the hell are you living in the moment?
So, that's that first viewpoint, man, is to take responsibility. Because at the end of the day, like, yeah, maybe somebody hurt you, maybe they broke your heart, maybe they beat you down or put that knife in your back. But ultimately, you have to take responsibility for your part in it, because
Right.
there's something that you can take away from it. All
Yeah.
right. So we got that number one, which is take responsibility. Number two, find your anchors in life.
Guys, we talked about this.
Nicholas, what is our damn anchor? What is our anchor, bro?
Our anchors are the things that hold us down, but also the things that hold us back. And what's great, like, about everything that we're talking about consistently, is that you can go back and really find the details about what we're talking about, because we've already went over them. If you want more information on that, Control Your Anchor, I believe, was number 14th, our 14th podcast. And what's so important about this anchor, is you are actually self-actualizing what matters and what doesn't. What is that feeling? What actually happens when you discover that anchor, what you really need and what you don't need, Zach?
And I think you get to a point, and we talk about this all the time. People say YOLO. You only live once. Nah, motherfucker, back up. You only die once. So when you go and your death, that's returning back to your source of being.
Yeah.
At least that's what I believe. So why not live each day as if you were dying? Because when you do that, and then you can turn these struggled emotions that you have into a place of gratitude, man.
Got you. Bro, we gotta live like we're dying.
Man, you when you can get to a point, Nick, and we talk about this all the time, when you can get to a point of when you're feeling despair or anguish, like all these subcategories of fear, and change them to something positive, DM me and let me know how it goes, because you're about to have a breakthrough. Those doors are opening up in your life. I promise.
Yo, we're like Tim McGraw right here, and we're gonna live like we're dying.
Yes.
Live like we would die. Okay, I can't sing. Don't. But if you just listen to what Zach said, that was so fucking powerful. And he means it because it's the truth. These things that we talk about, of course, we're not professionals. We're working on becoming professionals at everything we're doing, but we've lived it. That's what we're talking about it. And we're trying to put things in a sense that you guys can understand how we've gone through these things and pushing forward as we are also going through life and continually developing and addressing the things that are going on, so that you guys can make these moves to open the doors in your own life as well.
Yesterday is gone. Tomorrow has not yet come. We have only today. Let us begin. Mother Teresa. So, we have that number one. These are the 5 ways to get your ass off the struggle bus. Take responsibility for your actions. Find your anchors. Number 3, this is going to be your first action phase, and it is going to be weather your storm. And people all the time, they're in these situations. They're strung out. They're gone. They're developing. They're just stroked in their work. They're suffering from that disease we talked about called more, where you just want more and more and more in life. And one day you've got to realize you have to weather your own storm. And I want to give you a little Bible verse, kind of a little story from from Luke chapter 8, verses 20 through 25. And many of you who, you're religious or you're in the Christian faith, you've already heard this, but this is something I think anyone can take away from, whether you're, whatever you believe in, whatever. If it's nothing, you can take away from this.
Yeah.
But one day Jesus got on a boat with his disciples and said to them, let's go to the other side of this ocean. So they picked up their anchor, they set sail. Well, as they set out, everyone fell asleep because, they're kind of tired. Here comes the storm. Here comes this storm of all storms. And it's filling the boat up. Everybody's panicking. Everybody's living in that fear. And then Jesus wakes up and they're telling him, like, we're going to die. Like, we're going to die. And Jesus asked them, do you have no faith in me that you know that you'll make it past this? So what did he do? He calmed the storm. He calmed the waves. And he asked them again. He said, where is your faith? Where is your faith? So when you're weathering the storm, this is your action phase, like I've told you again. You have to have faith that it's going to work out. Because if you don't believe in yourself that it's going to work out, who will? Some random person's not going to come in off the street and say, hey, you got this, bro. You got to believe in
that. If that did happen, it would be me.
Yep.
But Zach makes a really great point. And I think there's a lot of people out there like me. I'm one of those people that I put out a quote the other day, and it was I'm gonna look this up because it's important. But the most important thing that I was talking about is that basically here it is. It's you don't always need a plan. Sometimes you just need to breathe, trust, and let go and see what happens. And I'm one of those people that I know things are going to work out. I believe in myself because I know I'm going to do great things. And that lets me weather my storm. That lets me push through the boundaries, the obstacles, the things that are in front of me, because I know that I'm going to be great. And like, you might call it blind faith. You might be like, that's dumb. But at the end of the day, if I make any move upon my actions, if I continually sit down and strategically try to make moves to make a path open up for me, to continue to open these doors in my life, I'm making something. I'm putting energy into the universe. I'm creating this path that someday, eventually, if I put enough time and effort into it, I'm going to build something great. And that's what me and Zach are continually doing. And you can do that too. You have to weather the storm, believe in yourself, and it takes blood, sweat, and tears to push through the storm that you're in. But it all comes from understanding that you know that you can do something. And that's hard. Guys, it's not easy to believe in yourself sometimes. But take the tiny steps like we always talk about on this little ladder of success we got. And every step is another step on the journey of 1,000 miles.
Every step you take, and every move you make, every single day I'll take.
I'll be watching you. But yeah, it's
powerful stuff, Nick. Like, and I hope you guys are getting the chills like I am. Like I get so invoked in this, and especially when we're talking about these subjects where it's bettering ourselves and bettering our development, because that's what we are. We're the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success. We're the doors.
Damn right.
So I'm gonna go back to the 5 ways of getting your ass off the struggle bus. We got that. Take responsibility for your actions. Find your anchor. Your first action phase. Weather your storm.
3.
4 is find your flow.
4.
You dealt with your material self, after you find those negative aspects that you wanted to change, we're going to find our flow. We're going to find that state of us where we're creative. We're going to find what we want to do. And it could be anything. If you're working a job right now, it could just be bringing out your highest self. But we want to get in that flow state. We want to stay in that flow state, because when we're in this state, and I know Nick right here, he can probably relate to this. Have you ever had one of those weeks, man, where you're just dialed into everything? You know, your meditation was on point. You were working out consistent. You were eating right. Like things were going good at work. You know, you were just in that state where it seemed like you had luck on your side. Guys, we make our own luck, and we can find that flow state. And we need to find that flow state and stay in that flow state.
And let me tell you something right here, which is super important, is that a lot of you guys might be thinking, I don't have a flow state. Like I have this dream. I haven't even started. What am I supposed to do? And like, I mean, we talked to Carnell and he was honestly jealous of the moves we're making on our dreams. I said, okay, that's great. You can be jealous. You can do these different things. It could be, especially for any of you guys, like you could be like, okay, how do I, like, I'm not even started on this journey. How can I even get in my flow state? Talk about this, and it's so simple. I know we relate this so many times. I've already said it again, like in this podcast. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. You can't start your flow state without starting. Get in. Like I talked to my dad about this too, because he's so passionate about some of the things he wants to do, but he can't find time to do it, or doesn't initiate these things. It's important to do that. And it's not that he won't do it. It's finding the time to set aside to do it. It doesn't matter if it's 30 minutes a week. Start.
Yeah.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
And I hope you guys are listening to what Nicholas is saying. The single step is usually the most difficult.
It's so hard. And then it's a flow. That's it. You just started.
But if you quit after that single step, you will quit after the single step in every aspect of your life. Do not be a quitter. I'm speaking for someone who did that at one point in his life, who just, gave up on things so easily. And you look back on it and you're like, I needed a little bit more blood. I needed a little bit more sweat. I needed to cry a little bit more. I needed to try just a little bit harder, and I could have achieved everything I want. And guys, everyone can talk about the difference between champions and ordinary people. That's what makes someone strong. That it doesn't matter how much you can lift or how far you can run or all these different things. Yeah, that's nice. But you show me someone that has been beaten down, someone that has been kicked and just brutally beaten to the point where no one thought they would get back up. And then they do. It's like in that Rocky round 14, for those that have seen Rocky out there. And, that final round when he's got him down and Rocky gets back up and he's got this opportunity to win this fight, and he knows it. He seizes that moment right then and there, and he does. He steps beyond his limit just a little bit, and he takes that single step towards what he knew he was supposed to be.
Listen, you can define that whole thing right there in one fantastic word. And you want to know what that is, Zach?
What is it, Nick?
Determination.
What? Say that one more time.
Determination. Being determined. You believe in yourself. You know your course, your path. You started on this path, and you won't let anyone stop you. You believe wholeheartedly that it's going to work. I believe wholeheartedly that the Doors is going to become something amazing, that we're affecting people's lives, and we're building upon the things that we're doing. But, hi, Dad. But
it was so great, man. Like, did you see, guys? And for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see just watching Nick. He's just overcome by this emotion, and this is something we're not just preaching to you guys. This is something we're living each day. Me and Nicholas, and we get on the phone, bro. Like, and I shit you not, we probably talk at least 2 to 3 hours daily, if not more, about this subject, about bettering ourselves. Like, hey, I met this person at the skate park. Hey, I met this person at the Market Man, and I talked to them about such, and such. We want to build this movement not only for ourselves, but to help that person out there that's looking to build themselves. We had a conversation with the last person we had in the podcast, Mr. Carnell, and he asked us a very difficult question. And it was, why are you guys doing this? And honestly, I don't think me and Nick, we've ever had anyone ask us that. So we take a step back and we think about why we're doing this. And yes, it has a little bit with growing ourselves and bettering the understanding, but ultimately, it's to help you guys. It's to help better our world, to heal our world in a way that we can all love thy neighbor, love thy brother and sister, just like we would in the old days. And I'm not saying that action is not necessary, because action at times is sometimes the only way to get things done. But if we can raise our awareness just a little bit, raise the awareness of the common individual, and get to a point where it's better to conquer yourself than conquer all these battles, man, the world will be such a better place.
Guys, and that what's so amazing about this is that this is our journey. This is something we started, this is something we wanted to do. Your journey can be anything. And one thing that leads us into the fifth point, again, let's go over the first 4 points.
Which is take responsibility for your actions. Number 2, find your anchors in your life. Number 3, your first action phase. Weather your storm.
And guys, number 5.
Well, number 4, so you got to find that flow. Find that flow state. And now once you're staying in that flow state, you found how to kind of manipulate a little bit. You're figuring a little bit about yourself. Now we're going to grow steady. We're going to be patient. And we're going to make the most out of each and every opportunity. So I'm just going to label number 5, patience.
Guys, and that's
the virtue of Padawan.
It's something that I'm not great at. It's something that my dad over there who's walking out. Say hi, Dad.
What's up, everybody?
Something my dad's not great at either. But again, with practice, we get better at these things. It's patience. He walked in and looked at me again.
Yeah, I love this, man.
It's great, but you see these things. And patience is so important. Again, sorry to interrupt Zach, but the most important thing along this journey is understanding that we live in a society where everything can happen that fast. You can go get fast food. You can go and watch a movie on the instant. You can play video games. You can download these things. But to build something real takes time. And that requires patience.
Lots and lots of patience. There's actually an old samurai saying, and they say that the 2 most powerful warriors are patience and time. You have no control over the time, but you do have control over your patience. And there's actually a quote by Martin Luther King, and it has to do with change. And for everything that's going on right now, I think a lot of people can better themselves from this quote. But change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. And so we must straighten our backs and work for our freedom. A man can't ride you unless your back is bent. So don't allow your back to be bent with time. Don't allow your back to be bent without having patience. All this love and fear talk that we're talking about, when you're in one of those no peace moments, and that's what I like to call them when I'm talking about them, is a no peace moment. Take a step back from it and use a Q word if you have to. Patience, freedom, whatever.
Bananas.
Yeah. Use a Q word, something that you can relate to this emotional appendage that you have for yourself. So that way you can click back into that peace state. For me, I talked about this on one of my Think Tank Thursdays. It was in Sowing Love. But St. Francis, he always talks about wherever there is hatred, let me sow love. Make me an instrument of peace. That's kind of my thing. I always like to say, when I'm in those no peace moments, make me an instrument of peace.
Yeah.
So that way I can take a step back and, be able to watch the blades of grass grow, if you will. Be immovable.
Damn right. Guys, I mean, if you take all this away from what we talked about, and I know we went over those 5 different things, and that's sometimes a lot to grasp, but the important thing is that if you don't know your path, there are ways to get around it. There are ways to get out of the situations you're in by dealing with them, the things that you can, by creating the path, by weathering the storm, by being patient, by doing these things, these 5 steps that we talked about. You can build something amazing, whatever that is for you.
Well, guys, This has been a great episode of Getting Your Ass Off the Struggle Bus. We went over those 5 topics again. Take responsibility for your actions. Find your anchors in your own life. Weather your storm. Find your flow. And patience. Remember, be kind, because everyone you know is struggling and fighting a battle that you know nothing about.
Damn right.
We are the developers of our own opportunities, reinforcing success. You are blessed, you are favored, you are beautiful, and you have the work ethic to succeed at whatever you want. Until next time, peace.